¿Está listo? Sí. Ya. Minasama, konbanwa, chotto ose desu kedomo, domo sumimasen deshita. Before we start this ceremony, we ask all attendees to turn off their cell phones, alarms, and other mechanisms that could disturb the development of the activity. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. The University of Los Lagos gives everyone a very welcome to the opening of the 4th Chile-Japan Forum 2022, organized by this institution together with University of Concepción, Pontificia Universidad Católica de Chile, Universidad de Chile, and University of Tokyo. With the support of the collaboration of the regional government of Los Lagos, the National Agency for Research and Development, ANID, the Japan Society for the Science, for the Promotion of Science, JSPS, and the Center of Mathematical Modeling of the University of Chile. So, presiding this act, on behalf of the rector of University of Los Lagos is Vice Rector Oscar Diaz, the rector of Catholic University of Chile, Professor Ignacio Sanchez, the executive director and vice president of the University of Tokyo, Hiroyuki Takeda, and remotely the rector of University of Chile and the rector of Universidad de Concepción. We thank the presence of Mr. Kazuhika Shibuya, Ambassador of Japan in Chile, and the remote greetings of Mr. Ricardo Rojas, Ambassador of Chile in Japan, whom we greet and congratulate both ambassadors as this activity is part of the official calendar to commemorate 125 years of friendship and relations between both countries. In the same way, we convey our special greetings to all the professors and representatives of the University of Tokyo and other Japanese research organizations who traveled the long journey from Japan to the Los Lagos region in southern Chile, as well as all the participants in the forum from Chilean universities and special guests that accompany us today. This version of the Chile-Japan Academic Forum is the 4th opportunity in which our institutions have joined to celebrate research, generating a high-level academic space in which to strengthen existing alliances and collaboration, as well as to open new opportunities. On this occasion, we meet in Frutillar, Puerto Varas, and Puerto Montt, 3 icons of this beautiful region of Los Lagos that welcomes us in this southern part of Chile. The forum, which we inaugurate, will take place from today until December 2nd. Different workshops and collaborative discussions will be carried out in astronomy, astronomical instrumentation, microsatellites, space imaging, seismology, earth sciences, and natural disasters, biology, biomedical engineering, digital health, mining, strategic materials, renewable energies, climate, ecology, biodiversity, and sustainable development, as well as social sciences, arts, humanities, and Asian and Latin American studies, which we're also trying to move ahead and strengthen the academic collaboration. First, we will begin with a round of greetings from the authorities present, whom we thank once again for being with us tonight. Initially, I invite Professor Oscar Diaz, Vice Rector of the University of Los Lagos, to give us an address.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a privilege to participate in the opening of this new version of the Chilean-Japanese Academic Forum on behalf of the University of Los Lagos. First of all, I would like to present the apologies from our rector, Oscar Garrido, who is receiving a delegation of authorities from Canada and unfortunately could not attend to this meeting today. Rector Garrido sends a warm welcome to you all and the best wishes for this forum. Dear representative of Japanese and Chilean universities and institutions, especially I would like to welcome to the ambassador and all the authorities from the different countries, universities, scientists, and students. It's a pleasure to me to welcome you to the city of Frutillar in the southern Chile, a unique scenic beauty with many rivers, lakes, volcanoes, and also to welcome you to the University of Los Lagos. The University of Los Lagos is a nationally accredited public higher education institution that belongs to the Rector Council of Chilean Universities, and it has served the Chilean community since August 1993. Despite this short time of life, our institution has a long trajectory in Los Lagos region since 1965, with an academic tradition that can be traced back to the University of Chile and the State Technical University. The University of Los Lagos has about 10,000 students and focuses on educational activities and research on the main strategic cities of Osorno, Puerto Montt, Chiloé, and Santiago, not only for traditional undergrad studies, but also for postgraduate technical and training courses for workers. The university defines and justifies its mission according to the main challenge imposed by the Macro-South region in Chile, area where the most of its academic and research activity take place. Los Lagos region has some of the Chile's most beautiful landscape, native forest, lakes, national parks, and deep green rivers in the country. These unique features allow UNESCO to entitle this region as a biosphere reserve, an international designation only given to those ecosystems that represent a special condition to enable conservation, sustainable development, research, monitoring, training, and education. The University of Los Lagos is dedicated to respond to the needs of Southern Chile through science, technology, management, education, and culture promotion. University is the largest and most important public university in the Los Lagos region, and it has been nationally recognized for doing basic and applied scientists at different development levels and performance. Today, we celebrate the possibility that the forum offers to all of us to stimulate the collaboration between Chile and Japan. It is a great honor to be part of this forum that reactivated this important collaboration platform between two countries that exist many different but also share common goals. Despite the distance, these two countries are well connected and both recognize the importance of facing the global challenge with knowledge and research. If you allow me, I would like to thank the Japanese delegation who have traveled big distance to participate in this forum. Dogo arigato gozaimasu. The experience shows that the institution working together generate more success and have a greater impact than working individually. Therefore, joint activities among universities and research institutions usually offer great opportunities of improving strategic collaboration in the field of research and higher education. Considering that this forum will include discussion of important topics that represent priorities for our countries, the invitation is to take advantages of this value opportunity to share experience and generate insights that allow us to move forward together. I wish you a wonderful time, full of stimulation discussions and conversations, and will surely bring new life to our institutions and the community that they serve. Enjoy the south of Chile, and have a successful and joyful academic experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Rector Oscar Diaz. Now we greet and invite Mr. Ambassador of Japan in Chile, Kazuhika Shibuya, to give us some greeting words. Please.
Thank you very much. Muy buenas noches a todos. For those of you who are participating from Japan online, ohayo gozaimasu. I'm glad to be here at the world-famous Teatro del Lago in this beautiful region, and I'm also glad to be in the opening ceremony of this important academic forum between Japan and Chile. As many of you had said, this year Japan and Chile celebrate 125 years of anniversaries of bilateral relationship after signing the Treaty of Friendship, Commerce, and Navigation in 1897. During all this time, relations between our countries have increased at all levels. I have been here as an ambassador for 2 years, and I am always surprised to see how Chile and Japan are interrelated. Not to mention about our cooperations in natural disaster management and our favorite Chilean products, wines, salmons, and others. Oh, piscos también, yes. And in the academic field, there have been various collaborations between two countries, but today we will have an epoch-making event to symbolize our profound relations in the academic field. I hope through this forum, we will be able to expand our academic network for the exchange of knowledge and experiences between our countries, including as much Chilean and Japanese regions as possible. I know all of the participants in this forum have professional knowledge in various subjects. I sincerely hope that through the intellectual exchanges in this forum, you will find out and share with us important clues to deal with many issues we are facing today in this very difficult time. Not only at the academic level, but also to all citizens for a better life and a better planet. I also would like to thank and extend my sincere gratitude to all the people involved in the organization of this forum. In concluding my speech, I invite all of you to continue building the friendship between Japan and Chile. Thank you very much, and arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you, Ambassador Shibuya. Now we will greet from Japan Mr. Ricardo Rojas, who sends us his greetings by video recording.
Muchas gracias. Señora Rectora y señores rectores de las universidades de Chile presentes hoy. Excelentísimo embajador de Japón en Chile. Señor gobernador de la región de los lagos. Facultativos, investigadores y cuerpo estudiantil de ambos países. Señoras y señores. Buenas noches en Frutillar y buenos días en Tokio. Es un honor para mí poder dirigir estas palabras a ustedes en nombre de la Embajada de Chile en Japón con ocasión del inicio del cuarto Foro Académico Chile-Japón. Esta nueva versión, que tendrá lugar a lo largo de diversas localidades de la región de los lagos, promete ser una valiosa instancia de intercambio de experiencias, conocimientos y debates en torno a diversas áreas. Ellas abarcarán ciencias aplicadas, tecnología, ciencias sociales, humanidades y las artes. Áreas las cuales han quedado muy bien reflejadas a través de la nutrida agenda temática que los organizadores han preparado. Quisiera aprovechar de destacar el hecho que se haya decidido reanudar la realización de este foro académico binacional este 2022, cuando nos encontramos conmemorando los 125 años de relaciones diplomáticas entre Chile y Japón, cuya significancia histórica se enaltece aún más a través de la implementación de este foro. El mundo se encuentra atravesando diversas encrucijadas que van desde el cambio climático y la persistencia de la pandemia global a las tensiones geopolíticas. A ello se suma el desafío de desarrollar nuevas fuentes de energía limpia con miras a reducir la huella de carbono a nivel global y alcanzar un desarrollo más sustentable y seguro para las futuras generaciones. Instancias que congregan un amplio espectro del conocimiento humano, como la que estamos siendo testigos hoy en la región de los lagos, resultan muy valiosas y debemos aprovecharlas para ampliar nuestras miradas y conciencias, así como para desarrollar medios de cooperación que fomenten la búsqueda conjunta de soluciones a los dilemas que nos aquejan hoy en día. Cabe destacar que todas las experiencias que conoceremos durante los próximos 5 días comparten un mismo fin, el cual es avanzar en el conocimiento humano hacia nuevas fronteras y promover la inserción y aplicación de estos hallazgos en los sectores productivos de nuestras respectivas naciones, así como en el quehacer diario de cada una de nuestras vidas. Finalmente, quisiera agradecer a los organizadores la inclusión en el programa de este foro, la iniciativa académica conmemorativa que está teniendo lugar en la actualidad entre nuestros dos países y que fue desarrollada conjuntamente por nuestra embajada, la Universidad de Chile y la Universidad de Tokio. Ella consiste en un taller binacional de arquitectura sustentable en madera, el cual culminará el 14 de diciembre próximo. Les deseo el mayor de los éxitos en este cuarto foro académico Chile-Japón y que esta nueva versión abra nuevas oportunidades de cooperación entre nuestros dos países. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Embajador Rojas. Thank you very much, Ambassador Rojas. Now, we would like to invite Professor Hiroyuki Takeda, Executive Director and Vice President of the University of Tokyo, who leads the delegation to Chile, to give us some greeting words. Thank you.
So good evening. Thank you for kind introduction. And Your Excellency, Mr. Kazuhisa Shibuya, the Ambassador of Japan in Chile, and Your Excellency, Mr. Ricardo Rojas, Ambassador of Chile in Japan, a minute ago on the video, and Professor Oscar Diaz, the representative of the Universidad de los Lagos, and Professor Ignacio Sanchez, rector of the Pontificia Universidad Católica de Chile, and Professor Carlos Sandra Rubilar, the rector of Universidad de Concepción, and vice rectors and deans, and directors, and honorable colleagues, and ladies and gentlemen, it is our great pleasure to be able to hold the 4th Chile-Japan Academic Forum here at the very beautiful theater in Los Lagos area. So, as introduced, my name is Hiroyuki Takeda, an executive director and vice president of the University of Tokyo. On behalf of the University of Tokyo, I'd like to welcome you all. Despite the distance between Chile and Japan, as you know, it took most of us about 24 hours just to get to Santiago from Japan. So despite this distance, there has been a long diplomatic relationship between the two countries, just as we had. 124 years is, in fact, continues. So I also celebrate this long-term relationship and long-term friendship between the two countries. The University of Tokyo has partnership with several Chilean institutions in various disciplines, such as astronomy, seismologies, oceanography, mining, and information technologies. As some of you may remember, the U-Tokyo Forum was kindly co-hosted in Santiago by Pontificia University Católica de Chile and Universidad de Chile in 2013. This event allowed our collaboration to be widened into new stages. In fact, before that U-Tokyo Forum event, there had been only limited exchange among these institutes. At the U-Tokyo Forum 2013, more than 120 academic staff and students visited San Diego from Tokyo, and I remember that 17 workshops were held, including those on Asian studies, biologies, chemistries, food resources, medical engineering, and sustainability. Following the U-Tokyo Forum 2013, the first Chile-Japan Academic Forum was held at our university in Tokyo in 2014, just 1 year later. This was held as a follow-up forum to the U-Tokyo Forum 2013 and was extended to be a forum for researchers in 2 countries, not just for the 3 universities I mentioned. More than 50 faculty and students visited Tokyo from Chile, and 9 workshops were successfully held. In fact, I served as a co-chair of the biology workshop at the University Forum 2003, and also the first Chile-Japan Academic Forum 2014. The second Chile-Japan Academic Forum was held in Puerto Natales in Patagonia in 2016. I was missed this meeting, I'm sorry to say. And the third one was held at Nikko, Japan in 2018 with many attendees from both countries. I was looking forward to the 4th forum soon, but it could not be held on the original date due to the worldwide pandemic. But it is finally being held today with more than 100 attendees present in person. So I'm very pleased to be here and give this welcome address. Today, we are experiencing many difficult problems such as the pandemic, natural disasters, shortage of resources, and global warming. So predicting the future is becoming more and more difficult. We as academics should act proactively under this situation so that we can guide human society to the better future. There are 8 workshops being held this time. I have learned that archaeology and anthropology are being included from this forum. It is very important to learn about the history of human races to overcome our difficulties for the future. Also, oceanography, fishery, biodiversity, and material science are very important to overcome shortage of our resources. Furthermore, Chile and Japan both suffer from natural disasters, including big earthquakes. And I hope seismology workshop will deal with these problems. So recently, we at the University of Tokyo have placed great emphasis on dialogue under the new leadership of President Teruo Fujii. So dialogue means not merely discussion or the exchange of information. By dialogue, University of Tokyo means the act of trying to understand. So in order to tackle complex global issues, such as the sustainability of our planet Earth, it is essential for us to try to understand different cultures and values. I encourage all the participants from both countries to take this opportunity to better understand each other's countries and societies through workshops. Of course, understanding of the nature of our world is also very important. Chile has dry and mountains, which are ideal for astronomy. Our university is now building a 6.5-meter Tau telescope at Cerro Chanantol in Atacama, which has been supported by the Chilean governments, universities, and companies. On behalf of the University of Tokyo, I'd like to express our great appreciation of your long and strong support. The Tau telescope is expected to have its first light late next year. The University of Tokyo has promoted the strategic partnership project for 9 years. Strategic partnerships are expansive and mutually beneficial, and special interrelationships with a limited number of overseas universities. Under this project, we are going far beyond the usual academic exchange agreement by taking advantage of the strengths of University of Tokyo and each strategic partner universities. This forum is supported in part by Strategic Partnership Project and also supported by the Inter-University Exchange Project, which have successfully enhanced academic exchange activity of Japanese universities. So as such, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to MEXT and JSPS, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology Japan, and Japan Society for the Promotion of Science. Finally, I'd like to thank Universidad de Los Lagos for kindly hosting this forum. And also thank all people who are involved in organizing this forum. I do hope that all their efforts and hard works will eventually result in fruitful exchange of views and inspiration for the future. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much, Vice President Takeda. Now we would like to receive the greetings from remotely from Professora Rosa Deves, Rectora of University of Chile.
Greetings to all of you from the University of Chile on the inauguration of this fourth Chile-Japan Academic Forum, which is the fruit of enduring joint work and initiatives that have been concatenating for years with a long-term view in mind. We have come a long way since that first forum in 2013. At the time, I had the privilege of representing Rector Victor Perez, who could not attend. Having the University of Tokyo as a strategic partner undoubtedly makes us proud and encourages us to continue generating the spaces that allow us to jointly address common visions, new ideas, innovations, and work alliances, aiming to build the multidisciplinary and transdisciplinary approach to global challenges. The forum also reinforces the collaboration between our Chilean universities around research problems that go beyond our more traditional subjects, such as astronomy and seismology, to include various other disciplinary areas, such as mining, strategic materials, renewable energy, and the botanical sciences, which this collaboration has also made visible. We thank the effort of faculty members and researchers who have traveled long hours to have direct contact in order to explore new fields of research and establish new alliances. And I can only wish you a wonderful meeting and many more to come. And our special thanks to Rector Oscar Garrido and Universidad de los Lagos for hosting the forum in these beautiful landscapes. We are also grateful to all the organizers and Chilean scientists that have made it possible. Many thanks and a wonderful, wonderful time.
Thank you, Rectora Alves. Now I would like to invite Professor Ignacio Sanchez, Rector of Catholic University of Chile, and we thank you for being with us here.
Good evening, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you so much for being here, the Ambassador of Chile in Japan as well. The Vice President for Tokyo University, Mr. Vice President for Los Lagos University, authorities of the University of Chile, University of Concepcion, academics, professors, students, everyone that has been in this forum, particularly all the friends from Japan. As the ambassador said before, we celebrate 125 years of diplomatic relationship between Chile and Japan. In 1897, both countries signed the Treaty of Friendship, Commerce, and Navigation, based in a fruitful relationship. Since then, both countries have strengthened the relationship, including academic collaboration. In 1958, the first Chilean scholar was sent to Japan. 2 years later, the first Japanese expert arrived into Chile. Owing in this relationship of trust, in 2013 and 14, the first Chile-Japan Academic Forum was held at the University of Tokyo, inspired by the U-Tokyo Forum. It was celebrated in Santiago and Sao Paulo in 2013. Our university and the University of Chile were part of that organization of the first Chile-Japan Academic Forum as the first partners of this endeavor. This joint initiative catalyzed and expanded our history of collaboration and science and research. The internationalization of a university is crucial for its development and reflects the quality of the institution, particularly in a global and multicultural world. Through international collaboration, universities can solve local concerns and be part of global solutions as well. Since then, 2 more forums have taken place. In 2016 at the Patagonia, as they said, and in 2018 again in Japan at the city of Nikko, a magnificent place known for its shrines and temples, where I have the privilege to attend. The COVID-19 pandemic prevented us from gathering again until now. I'm very happy to be here at the Teatro del Lago, a building inaugurated in November 2010, a date in between 2 big earthquakes, the great earthquake that struck central and southern Chile and triggered a tsunami on February 27, 2010, and the great Tohoku earthquake, the strongest earthquake in Japan's record history, which occurred on March 11, 2011. For evident reason, seismology, earth science, natural disasters has been one of the strongest areas of collaboration between Chile and Japan. As well, we share the gallbladder cancer, both countries as well. However, previous versions of this forum have allowed the exploration of new areas of acknowledgement and involvement of new participants. This 4th academic forum includes now areas such as engineering and technology, Asian and Latin American studies, astronomy, Pacific Ocean, and of course, natural disasters. It offers a unique platform, this forum, for bilateral scientific collaboration between both countries from an interdisciplinary perspective, opening new opportunities for PhD students and postdoctoral researchers. The Chile-Japan Academic Forum has also grown to include other institutions. We must recall that it began with the University of Tokyo, University of Chile, Catholic University of Chile, but nowadays it expands to more institutions such as National Research Institute of Agriculture in Japan, the National Astronomical Observation of Japan, the Tokyo Institute of Technology, the Riken Research Institute, and the University of Hiroshima, Fukui Prefectural, and Tohoku. New Chilean participants are the National Research Center for Integrated Natural Disaster Management, SIGIDEN, researchers from Universidad de Concepción, Universidad del Paraíso, Universidad de los Lagos, and other universities in Chile. Thank you so much for organizing this long-awaited fourth forum. I would like to thank the embassies of Japan and Chile, the Ministry of Education, the Chilean National Agency for Research and Development, ANID, and for all the supporting and collaborating in this organization for this event. Japan and Chile have worked a long road together, but new global challenges of sustainability are rising ahead, pushing the limits of science and technology. Thus, this forum has every reason to be strengthened and projected into the future. Thank you so much. We wish you and every professor and student a success in the coming days, and that this academic collaboration continue to grow for the benefit of both countries. We hope that we can see each other in 2 more years in Japan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rector Sanchez. And finally, we will hear the greetings of Rector of Universidad de Concepción, Carlos Saavedra, in a recorded video. Please.
Estimadas y estimados participantes de este cuarto Foro Académico Chile-Japón, reciban todas y todos los que participan en esta reunión académica bianual nuestro más cordial y afectuoso saludo. Tal como sabemos, esta reunión permite la colaboración en distintos ámbitos investigativos de las ciencias exactas y aplicadas, la tecnología, las ciencias sociales, las artes y las humanidades. Las conferencias y workshops organizados por núcleos temáticos y liderados por especialistas destacados abordarán temas tan relevantes como el ecosistema marino costero, el intercambio de ideas frente a cómo enfrentar desastres naturales, tales como terremotos, maremotos y tornados, el desarrollo de la astronomía, el uso de macrodata de poblaciones en asuntos biomédicos y salud digital, las fuentes de energías no convencionales, el impacto en la biodiversidad y las convergencias culturales y los desafíos de la modernidad, por nombrar solo algunos. La Universidad de Concepción, como casa de estudios superiores y como institución que alberga diversos centros y grupos de investigación avanzada en esos y otros temas, siempre está dispuesta a participar de instancias como esta, pues tiene conciencia de la relevancia que poseen y de los alcances en materia de cooperación, desarrollo y servicio público que pueden llegar a tener. Agradezco a la Universidad de los Lagos por su rol como anfitriona y al resto del equipo de universidades por la organización de este evento. Asimismo, saludo con entusiasmo la presencia de las autoridades japonesas y las delegaciones de universidades niponas que estarán presentes activamente. Deseo, a nombre de la Universidad de Concepción, que este cuarto foro académico se lleve a cabo con todo el éxito que se merece. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. Thank you, Rector Saavedra. We thank all the greetings from the authorities, and it has been traditional of this forum to have a keynote address to all the participants in different workshops, and we have a keynote addresses in the opening and in the closing ceremony. So it's a special honor to invite Professor Hiroyuki Takeda to give us a keynote address on a very, very relevant subject, the genetics and genomics of medaka, a Japanese killifish or rice fish, which is a good way of looking into the insights and complexity of biological systems that are so necessary to understand, not only for sustainable development, but even for the survival of us as a species. So thank you very much, and I welcome the keynote address from Professor Takeda.
All right, okay. Thank you, Vera-san, for kind introduction. I'm very honored to give a talk at this special talk about my research at this special occasion. I was asked to give a talk partly because I'm a biologist. I learned that one of the important research areas of the University of Los Lagos is biodiversity and aquaculture, which are a bit overlap with my research area. Actually, I'm working in the field of developmental biology, genetics, and genome science using a small fish as a models. Today, I will talk about some of my research topics conducted in my laboratories on genetics and genomics of fish. Before start, I'd like to say that I'm not going into not going into detail for each topics, because there is only few biologists. Not all of you are not familiar with biology. So instead, I'd like you to have a rough idea of the complexity and diversity of biological systems. Okay, so let's start. So developmental biology studies the mechanism underlying development of multicellular organisms from one cell, fertilized eggs, into the adult with complex organ and patterns. So this slide shows you two popular models, mice and zebrafish, for the analysis of the vertebrate development. So vertebrate means the animal with having a bone on the back. Because mechanisms of early development are well shared and conserved among vertebrates, any vertebrate model would provide us common mechanism which can directly be applied to all vertebrates, including human. So I chose the zebrafish as a model system more than 30 years ago when I was working at Riken Institute. I chose this model, zebrafish, because embryos, developmental animals, is transparent and also very beautiful. So these embryos develop very fast. I'm sorry, this video doesn't work in this computer, but it takes about only 36 hours they start swimming after fertilization. Very fast development. That is also a fascinating point of the zebrafish system. So using this zebrafish system, I have been analyzing the molecular mechanism underlying body axis and organ formation, such as how this periodic segment formed from anterior to a posterior direction. But zebrafish, not today's main players. In addition to the zebrafish, I also using the Japanese killifish called medaka as a second model system. The medaka fish, medaka is a freshwater fish, 3 to 4 centimeter long, and is broadly distributed from Southeast China, Korea, and Japan. Medaka has various advantages in genome science and genomics and genetics, such as smaller genome, and also the availability of the inbred strain with variable genetic background from northern and southern populations. But most fascinating point to me is their unique mutant. For example, this mutant, we obtained a chemical mutagenesis. This mutant exhibits organ laterality defect. In the embryo, the heart tube, white outlined, heart tube genetically determined to loop toward the right, usually. But in this mutant, the direction of the heart looping is randomized. And also, we found that the sperm comes from the mutant, show the mobility defect like this. We successfully cloned the responsible gene of this mutant and found that this responsible gene is very novel and conserved from unicellular organisms, insects to humans. And also, we, in collaboration with the medical doctors, we found that this new gene is turned out to be responsible for the human diseases, ciliopathy. So, Medaka mutant gave us an insight into the pathogenesis of human diseases also. But today, I will focus on the spontaneous mutant of Medaka. Spontaneous mutant means that the mutant isolated under natural conditions. In fact, Medaka system provides a large collection of spontaneous mutants, so-called naturally occurred mutants. But why so rich in spontaneous mutant in Medaka system? So we Japanese has a long history with Medaka, and Medaka used to live everywhere in Japan, rice field, pond, and creek. But as you see in this ukiyo-e print, which was made more than 200 years ago, showing beautiful ladies, women, catching or scooping Medaka in a pond. Likewise, many Japanese people used to keep Medaka at home, even now. And Japanese scientists also have studied the biology of Medaka for a long period of time. In doing so, many spontaneous mutants had been collected by citizen scientists as well as a professional biologist. Just last year, the Japanese monthly popular magazine for tropical fish lovers published the posters featuring the best 100 beautiful Medaka. So the Medaka is still very popular at home in Japan. And actually, they are naturally occurring spontaneous mutant, mostly color mutant, or fin shape or body shape mutant. And biologists systematically collected these mutants and stored in the stock center supported by supported by a National Bioresource Project. And many of these mutants collected are listed in stored and listed like this, and finally open for basic researches. More than 10 years ago, I was fascinated by one of such spontaneous mutant, showing next slide. The mutant that attracted me is shown in this slide, and this mutant exhibits a very peculiar morphology in outside appearance. The upper pictures shows the wild type normal adult Medaka, and the lower pictures show the DA mutant adult. In this mutant adult, dorsal fin become enlarged, become big, just similar to the adenophyne on the ventral side. And also, silver pigmentation, usually restricted on the belly, abdomen, but in the mutant, silver pigmentation also appears on the dorsal regions. So as a whole, in this mutant, dorsal half of the structures completely transform into the ventral type, leading to the mirror image duplication shape along the midline. We call this mutant double adenophyne after the phenotype of the dorsal fin, similar to the adenophyne. And also in the following my talk, I call this mutant just DA for short. This mutant is a main player of my talk today. So importantly, this phenotype is transmitted following the Mendelian law in a semi-dominant way, indicating that a single gene or single locus is responsible for this mutant, probably in dose-dependent manner. So in general, animals develop diverse morphology and characteristic coloration, pigmentation on the dorsal side, like this reptile. As you imagine, they are quite important for their survival and reproduction strategies. Despite this importance, this late patterning mechanism, usually developed at later stages, has been mystery in the developmental biologists. Because most of developmental biologists tend to focus on the very early stage of development, from early egg to the early embryos. So we expected that the study using this DA mutant would fill this black box. That turned out to be true. Thanks to the high-quality genome sequence available since 2007, which were produced by Japanese groups, including myself, and also recent update, the genome sequence by our group using a next-generation sequence, we finally narrowed down the responsible region for this mutant and found the DNA fragment inserted in this JIK1, JIK4 gene locus in mutant. JIK1, JIK4 gene encode the transcription factors which regulate the many downstream genes forming the gene network. So transcription factor is very important in biological systems. Subsequent analysis demonstrated that this DNA fragment disrupts the regulatory region of this gene. In the wild type, normal embryos, JIK1, JIK4 gene expressed in the head region and also trunk region. And in particular, JIK is expressed in the dorsal muscle tissue like this. But in the mutant, because of this DNA insertion, the expression in the dorsal muscle is gone. So the blue signals indicates a region where JIK gene is functions. So in the mutant, no JIK gene is activated in the dorsal somoid. Together with many other experiments done in my laboratory, we concluded that JIK1, JIK4 responsible for this DA phenotype. To make a long story short, what this unique DA mutant tells us are as follows. The vertebrate body consists of the two distinct compartments, dorsal compartment and ventral compartment with clear boundary. This is also true for us. we have a clear boundary, dorsal ventral like this, but we don't have any characteristic dorsal structure anyway. So these dorsal structures, fin and pigmentation and the body shape, I'll come back to body shape in the next slide, are induced or regulated by the underlying dorsal muscles. And the JIC gene is crucial gene transcription factors regulate its dorsal specific formation. So if JIC gene is inactivated or mutated, dorsal compartment is totally transformed into the ventral type. So that means that ventral type is a default state in the vertebrate trunk. By transgenic technologies, we also know that this gene, JIC, functions for the entire of life at the dorsal specific expression like this. So green is mean that where the JIC gene is activated, even at the adult stages, dorsal half of the tissues is activated by the JIC gene. And we now know that this long-term expression, lifelong expression of JIC gene is regulated by epigenetic mechanisms, but which I'm not going into this today. From evolutionary biological point of view, DA mutant is also very fascinating because this mutant gave us a useful hint on the diversity of fish body shape. The body shape of the fish, as you know, is very variable depending on the living environment. The fish swimming in the surface layer, like Medaka, exhibit the dorsal flatted body shape with small dorsal fin. On the other hand, the fish at the bottoms exhibit ventrally flattened body shape like this. And teardrop type body shape is frequently adopted by the fish swimming in the middle layer, like karasin or tuna. As you already know, a single mutation of JIC gene is resulted in complete transformation of the surface type body shape into the middle type body shape like this. So this suggests that the JIC gene is a driving force of diversity of fish body shape. We then experimentally tested the relationship between the JIC activity and the dorsal fin formation, shown in this slide. As I talked before, in the DA mutant, JIC1, JIC4 gene is inactivated due to the DNA insertion. In the wild type, on the other hand, 2 JIC gene is active. When one more JIC gene introduced in the DA mutant, the phenotype is like this. Okay? So the dorsal fin it's become smaller as compared to the DA because of the presence of the one more JIC gene here, and the size of the intermediate between the DA mutant and wild type. And then we asked what will happen if we add one more JIC gene introduced in that Medaka normal Medaka. Can you guess what happened? Maybe you can easily accept the dorsal fin is gone. So indicating that JIC genes are responsible for the dorsal structures in a dose-dependent manner. We then asked whether this JIC-mediated mechanism is conserved in other fish. During the course of the study, we came across an interesting ornamental fish called betta. This is a very famous tropical fish, and also its derivative called double tail. So derivatives are more or less equal to the naturally occurring mutant collected by the citizen scientist. And if you look closer at this morphology, you can easily notice that this morphology is very similar to that observed in the Zik mutant Medaka. Then we obtained fertilized egg and embryo from the breeders, which is located in Indonesia. And then we checked the expression of Zik gene and found that in the common beta, Zik gene is active in the dorsal muscle tissues, but in the derivative dorsal double tail, Zik gene expression is gone. So, indicating that the function of Zik1, Zik4 could be conserved in the teleost lineage, entire fish. So people usually think that the variety of morphology in fish requires a cooperation of many genes and complex gene network. But our data suggests that the mechanism underlying the diversity of the fish body is much simpler than we originally thought. Only a single gene or few genes can produce a diversity of the fish morphologies. This is the short take-home message for the first part of my talk. I want to acknowledge the young researchers in my lab who recently moved to the Tokyo Institute of Technologies, who done the lot of work I presented so far. In the second part, which is the last part of my talk, I will introduce one more story derived from this mutant. The story about the DNA fragment is specifically inserted in the Zik1, Zik4 of the mutant. Our initial preliminary analysis already demonstrated that this DNA fragment has inverted repeat on each end, which are characteristic for DNA transposon. So this fragment could function as a DNA transposon. The transposon constitute one of the major groups of mobile elements together with virus. So transposon and virus are frequently embedded into our cells, and sometimes embed even into the genomes by integration. Actually, transposon or transposable elements are quite abundant in eukaryotic genomes. Through transposition within the genome or proliferation in the nucleus, these elements are finally occupy about half of the genome in mammals. So the human genome also consists of more than half of the human genome consists of these transposable element comes from outside. So transposable elements are sometimes very harmful, dangerous to the genomes by causing the mutation of gene locus, just we observed in the DA mutant. But they facilitate the evolution of genome by creating a new sequence component, such as a new coding gene, as well as new regulatory elements. So, DNA transposon themselves and transposon-induced mutant, like DA, are not rare events. But the size does matter in my story today. Usually, the size of the DNA transposon is very small, around a few kb to 10 kb. 1 kb is a 1,000 base pair. And 25 kb transposon was exceptionally reported in the past. However, by contrast, our preliminary analysis already demonstrated that this DNA fragment is 40 to 45 kb in size, which means that if this DNA fragment is really active transposon, this size is world record. the biggest transposon ever reported so far. We named this DNA fragment teraton after the biggest bird of prey, teratonyx, used to live in the North American continent, become extinct in the past. We imagined that big DNA transposon, like bird of prey, flying over the genomes, sometimes landed and sometimes jumped out. After extensive efforts on genome sequence, we finally obtained the complete genome of this DNA fragment teraton. It turned out that this DNA fragment is 180 kb in length and contains more than 50 genes inside. Among the genes in the fragment, we first identified a gene encoding the active transposase, which is required for the DNA transposition. So this means that this big fragment is really active transposon. So this size is still keep the world record, so even now. But more surprisingly, many of the other genes were found to come from the fish-type herpes virus. Some genes required for the DNA replication, the other genes required for the capsule formation for virus during the virus cell cycle, virus life cycle. And they are all intact and being transcribed in the fish host cells. So, and also, so we concluded that the teraton is a fused form of the two distinct mobile elements, DNA transposon and also the virus. This type of fusion was not reported before our work, so we discovered a new type of peculiar mobile genetic element. We also came to know that some of the medaka spontaneous mutant reported so far were caused by the teraton transposon insertion. Because of its big size, gigantic size, the insertion is very profound. The impact is very profound, causing the mutant like this. There are a lot of discussion and questions for the emergence of this peculiar mobile element and also the biological significance of this mobile element. But at least we can say that this fusion is advantageous to the herpes virus. The herpes virus, when infected into cells, but DNA is not integrated, just floating inside the nucleus. Under these conditions, this herpes virus DNA is easily removed by host defense system. But in the case that herpes virus DNA is integrated in the host genomes by hijacking hijacking by transposon system, so once integrated, they are stable, and stable transmissions are secured from mother cell to daughter cell, and also even across generations. So this is very much advantageous to the herpes virus in this fusion form. But then the other question arises, what is the benefit for the host cell of this fusion? We don't know yet. We don't have a clear answer yet. However, extensive genome survey of the fish genomes demonstrated that the fusion transposon and herpes virus occurred independently in the several fish lineages, highlighted with dark blue like this, suggesting that the fusion could have some advantages to host cell as well. But there is a lot of mystery still remains. And finally, I want to add one thing about the Medaka DA mutant. The history of DA mutant dates back to late 60s, when DA mutant was picked up in the rice field near the Nagoya cities by Professor Tomita, and have been maintained in the fish facility of the Nagoya universities. Because they have a silver pigmentation on the dorsal side, that attract the Professor Tomita, but also that attract the predator as well. So this kind of mutation under natural condition usually soon disappears by selective pressures. So isolation of DA happened just by chance. And I think that the DA was a precious gift from the nature. And I have learned a lot from the DA mutant. And here you see the list of the topics and related papers derived from the DA mutant in my laboratories. And what I talk today is just part of these stories. And some of research is still going on. I acknowledge these people, their great contribution to the Medaka genome and epigenetic researches, which I didn't go into detail. And at the very end, I want to show you our lab members. This photo was taken at the year-end party 4 years ago. And the research I presented today were mostly done by this year, and nearly all people involved in the mutant stories were shown in these pictures. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for such interesting talk, Professor Takeda. And now we invite you to stay for a few minutes, and we will listen to a concert that we will perform in tribute of Professor Isao Matsushita, a person that really was very, very active in promoting the last forum in Nikko, and especially promoting the interaction in the sciences and art. And we all went and were very moved when we went to Nikko in the last forum, and unfortunately, Professor Isao Matsushita passed away a few days before we arrived. That was very tragic, and we felt that it would be very nice to pay a tribute to Professor Isao Matsushita. So we're very pleased to introduce Dr. Svetlana Kotova from Faculty of Arts of the University of Chile, and she will interpret music of Isao Matsushita and also Enrique Soros. So just a few minutes, we will prepare to have this brief concert, first by our pianist, Professor Kotova, and also we will have a small presentation of the Son del Sur Ensemble to hear some regional music. So that way we'll hear Japanese music and contemporary Japanese music and regional music from this beautiful part of the country, and that would be a very suitable end of this ceremony. And after that, we will welcome all of you to a reception in the lobby of this theater. So please just wait a few minutes while we prepare for this concert. First, Dr. Kotova will interpret 3 pieces for piano by Isao Matsushita.
I don't speak Japanese, but the pieces are Natsu no Kimorehi, To Oi Hoshi no Izumi, and Shizuka na Yuki no Yoru.
Now a brief piece by Michio Miyagi. Finally, Dr. Cotova will interpret a brief piece from Enrique Soros.
Tonada chilena number.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kotowa, for your very beautiful interpretation of Japanese and Chilean piano music. Thank you. So now we welcome our next performance from the Son del Sur Ensemble, who will perform a few pieces of regional music. Please.
Good evening, my dear friends, my dear audience. We are misunderstood, and really we are very excited and happy to play for you today. And the repertoire for today is a little suite from Jaime Barriga, Pichi Burrum, Llanto de Ñustas, and the last song of them today is Patagonia. Yes. Sorry, thank you. Thank you for this great opportunity to play for you today in this great and fantastic theater, and enjoy it. Thank you.
We thank the Son del Sur Ensemble for their wonderful music. Very, very good way to end this ceremony. Thank you very much again. And just logistics announcement. As you know, we are behind. The first bus was supposed to leave at 10:30. We'll move that 15 minutes so that you can enjoy and grab some food in the reception before you go back. That's the first bus. And then we're going to have the one that was going to leave at 11 will leave at 11:30. So those who have the energy to enjoy further the reception, because it's, we have prepared that, are welcome to stay and then leave a bit later. So that's the plan. So let's clap and thank everyone for this brilliant start of the forum. And also the logistic announcement is that tomorrow the buses will leave from both hotels, Hotel Cabañas del Lago and Parque Inn Radisson, at 9 o'clock for maybe 30, 40-minute trip to the sede de Universidad de los Lagos in Puerto Montt, where we will have all the workshop, and then we return back at 5 p.m. to be about 6 back in Puerto Varas. So thank you very much again, and please let's enjoy let's enjoy the reception. Doso no mi kai no mi masho.